James Erickson.
All right, thanks for humoring me on that one. My name is James Erickson. Everybody say hi, James. Okay, look, I've seen more people than this at a Braves game. It happens rarely, but I expect a lot more energy back. My name is James Erickson. Everybody say hi, James. Hi, James. Okay, good. I'm all the way from Bend, Oregon on the left coast. If you guys don't know where Bend, Oregon is, take Oregon, draw an X through it. Right in the middle of that X is Bend, Oregon. Kind of a hole in the middle of everything, but we get it done. It's a nice place if you want to go skiing, play some golf. As our chairman here said, I am a former U.S. Marine, a former national mascot champion, and I'm also an entrepreneur, or as my daughter calls it, an ultra manure. Sometimes I think she's right. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how I've developed Stridebox, my team has developed Stridebox to really be the middleman in a product-customer relationship. So what is Stridebox? How many, before you showed up here today and looked in your little program, how many of you heard about Stridebox? Oh boy. Okay, how many of you run a marathon? This is your last chance, marathon runners. First of all, how do you know if somebody's run a marathon? Don't worry, they'll tell you. So how many have run a marathon? Don't hit me up in the hallway if you aren't raising your hand and say, James, I ran this marathon last year. It was great. Half marathon? 10K? All right. So you should have heard about Stridebox. If you haven't yet, go to stridebox.com, sign up. You'll get a monthly box full of energy products, bars, gels, chews, cool accessories like reflective shoelaces, light up little lights that help you keep you safe, maybe a wrist wallet of some kind. And each month you get different stuff on a monthly basis. So how many of you run a 5K? All right, that's a lot better. I hope you guys shoot for longer distances because I'm forever an optimist, and I think we're going to start curing some of the diseases out there like cancer and diabetes, so the need for 5Ks is going to go away. Some of you got that. All right, this lady right here, that's our target customer. Her name is Liz. She doesn't go by Elizabeth because she's too young and hip for that, even though she has 2 kids and has a nice little side job, maybe running her own business out of her house. But that's what our customer looks like. That's who we're targeting with this. Maybe the customer that runs 1 or 2 races a year. In fact, 90% of our customers run a half marathon or longer. I've run 2 half marathons or longer in the past year. And again, she gets something like the Stridebox every month. Now, for those of you that aren't runners, last Tuesday we launched a new service called Lazy Crate. Lazy Crate comes with donuts and Hostess Twinkies, and there's even a beer in there for those of you who imbibe a little. I don't know if you can see right there in the middle, there's also some Pepto-Bismol, and that happened last Tuesday, and as you know, that was April Fool's Day. So we launched this to our customers, and the funny thing is they actually wanted it. This is one of our customers that said, I like how Stridebox made an April Fool's joke about creating Lazy Crate, and all the runners were like, no, really, we're hungry, how much? So maybe we've uncovered some sort of audience there, I don't know, but that was a little fun we like to have with our audience. One of the biggest things with our audience is we like to engage them over social media. Now, an alternative title for this talk could have been something like how we use fulfillment and logistics to create a bigger audience for Stridebox, because that's really what it's going to tie into. So this is the history of how these products are announced or marketed to my audience, the runners. People would go and set up a trade show booth similar to what you have upstairs. They would sample their items. They would send a big staff, a bunch of banners, a bunch of cool table coverings, sample their items, and this would happen at events. So on the day before a marathon, the day of a marathon, they're giving out these energy products. They're giving out these cool little running accessories that people have. And what we noticed was the training, the way the training works for a marathon is you train. The week before the event, you do what's called a taper week, and you go really slow to allow your body to recuperate, so that way when you hit the event, you're at your full strength. But as soon as the event is over, there's a good lull there that maybe lasts 4 to 8 weeks, depending on who you are and how much you train. If it's your only marathon you're going to run, maybe you don't run again for 6 months, who knows? But it's really weird to me that a company would come and introduce their products to their customer the day before the person stops running for 8 weeks. So what we've done is we've taken it and given them these products in a home delivery system that can hit them during their training. We find a lot of our customers will sign up when they start their marathon training program so that they can be introduced to these products so they know which one makes them perform better, which one doesn't make them sick, which one has all the stuff in it that they want in their body, you know, the weird glucoses and sucroses and the GMOs and the non-organics. My products are full of this stuff, except for some of them. So some people don't like that. They want to go natural. They want to be vegan. Oh, how is there anybody that's vegan in the room? Okay, I didn't want to put you out there. My dad used to say, if somebody's a vegan, a marathon runner that got their dog from a rescue shelter, how do they know which one to insert into conversation first? So we found it weird that they were introducing these products before they quit. And so when people go to sign up for a marathon, we're hoping that they come to Stridebox to sign up. And when they sign up, then we can send them this monthly package of gifts. So how it used to be was the brand or the product would go direct to the consumer. And we've taken ourselves and we've made ourselves that third party that is inserted into the middle of this relationship. We represent brands to customers. We give customers cool brands. Customer pays us, products pay us. It works out well for everybody, especially us. Now, what we're finding now is there's a fourth party that comes into this, and that's the other vendor. So we just recently worked with, and yesterday was the running of the Paris Marathon, sponsored by Schneider Electric. We worked with Schneider Electric to send gift boxes to people who were running the Paris Marathon. About 200 of them, who then shared that online and got extra press, extra buzz around the Paris Marathon and for Schneider Electric. So that's a great little market, kind of something that's not here that we didn't anticipate, but we've got products lined up with Mizuno and products lined up with another company called Electrofuel. So what kind of products do we deal with? And this is kind of where it gets fun. You can see we've got these million-dollar brands we work with, like Gatorade. There's Sport Beans, which if you don't know is Jelly Belly's answer to like the Sport Chew. They've taken their jelly beans and made them extra caffeinated and extra B12 energy and really turned them into like a sports product. Cliff Bar, and Kind, and PowerBar, you guys can recognize these brands, but maybe here's some other brands that you don't recognize. Something like a Zing Bar out of Seattle, Washington. A couple people that put together a bar and decided that they wanted to enter the bar market. It's a tough market to get into. Energems, M&Ms with caffeine in them. What a great market. There's 9 of them in there. Please don't eat them all. You will be up for 3 days straight. So Energems again. Health Warrior Chia Bar. Chia seeds are huge in the running crowd. They love it. Here's Zip Fizz. Zip Fizz drink mix, B12 vitamins, good stuff to put in your water bottle. I'll come back here to the cheap seats too. Sir Zip Fizz for your late night. Sport Beans again, Jelly Belly Sport Beans. Another Sport Beans here. How about some Honey Stingers? Who's a caffeine junkie back here? There we go. Right here. Who has a coffee mug that's really dirty? Come on, be honest. Coffee mug, brown inside. I know everybody has one, unless you throw them all away. Bottle Bright, great thing that you wouldn't necessarily associate with runners, but if you have a Camelback or a water bottle that you can't clean down inside, you put some water in it, drop this in, it fizzes and bubbles like an Alka-Seltzer, shake it around, all natural, you dump it out, clean. And if you have a really dirty coffee mug, I have one for you. You can test it out. Scratch Labs, another small company out of Boulder, Colorado. Great drink mix. Again, these are smaller companies that we work with because these larger companies have the money to go out and do trade shows. They have the money to go out and spend money on endorsers. Michael Jordan was an endorser for Gatorade, right? Do you know he still makes $20 to $25 million from Gatorade for endorsing? When was the last time you saw a Michael Jordan Gatorade commercial? Shalane Flanagan. Who's heard of Shalane Flanagan? One in the back there. Are you her boyfriend, sir? I wish. Marathon runner. Amazing U.S. marathon runner. Finished 4th place in the Boston Marathon last year. She gets paid about $1 million a year to use Gatorade. Gatorade Sports Endurance is the on-track or on-course drink for many of the major marathons in the United States and across the world. When they run by that little table and they pick up their water and they take a drink, that's Gatorade. So as a small company, I mean, we're not gigantic. We're not shipping 400,000 boxes a day, right? As a small company, we're trusted by Gatorade to present their product in a way that represents them. There's a lot of pressure here. I mean, you're paying Shalane $1 million. You're paying Michael Jordan $20 million. You're giving us some product to put in a box. How can we make this look cool? It gives them a return on whatever they provide to us. The cool thing about this is with the Gatorade product and with our customer and how we build ourselves as a brand is by Gatorade saying, here, we trust you with this, give this to your customer, is now we're becoming the endorser. We're raised in our market level to a level of Shalane. I won't say to a level of Michael Jordan because he's the greatest. I don't care who LeBron is. So we become the endorser in this case, which is great for us as a brand because people will look to us to get cool stuff like the on-course drink for most of the major marathons. Whew. So when we look at our customers, how do we deliver a Gatorade or a Sport Beans or a Honey Stinger Chew or a Bottle Bright to them? And I think first we have to look at our 3 types of consumer. And the first type is the serious runner, that one that runs marathons, collects the medals, likes to be out there, trains for one marathon, that marathon ends, trains for the next one, and they just collect the medals. This is the super scrawny people you see running around, all got their coffee in one hand and their caffeinated chews in the other hand. They're going. Okay, they go out for runs at lunch, they go for runs after work, they go for runs before work. Surprised they ever sit down ever. Second one, couch to 5K. The beginner runner. Somebody that's like, well, I'm new to running. I want to see what's going on. I want to know what type of products work with my body, what type of products will help me perform better, what's going to get me off the couch and make me faster in that race. And the third is the lonely runner. These are the people that just want to get a present each month because nobody else sends them anything. And you'll be surprised how many people we get that sign up for their own just so they can get a present each month. So we're looking at performance, motivation, and a feeling of being accepted into a community. There's part of Stridebox that makes it a community. So what's in the box? What makes it so special? How do we present these products in a way that helps us build as a brand, represents our products, the products of the big brands and the smaller brands, and also allows our customer to be excited and get energized and definitely, again, share our product with others, build that community. So the first thing we've done is the box. Now, I notice a lot of you guys like brown boxes, so I brought a brown box. The one thing about this box, the one thing about our branding is it's on every panel of the box. Any way this box is turned, you will see the word Stridebox somewhere on it. As a small company, we're bootstrapped. Don't think we have some $1 million investors in Silicon Valley anymore. We've started from the bottom, now we're here, for all you Drake references. So, right? So every side of the box is branded, and I'll show you why in a second. Second of all, on the bottom of the box, you'll see it says this Stridebox is made of 100% recycled and 100% recyclable. Okay, so that means when you get this, it was somebody's box before this, and you can put this in your recycling. Now, I noticed something, and I flew in yesterday. I didn't use a cheap airline. Well, I went on like Delta, so it was a nice airline. I had my seat before I sat down, and they gave me a can of soda. They gave me the can. Like, that's how you know you're on a good airline now. They give you the whole can. And I had a couple drinks left in the bottom of my can, and so I took it off the plane when I got here in Atlanta, and I'm one of these Oregon hippie types that in Oregon we've got the aluminum can bin, we've got the newspaper bin, we've got the Starbucks bin, and then we've got the garbage bin. So everywhere you pass by a garbage, there's this recycle, Starbucks, garbage. And the garbage one is the smallest of them. So I've got this can of Coke in my hand, and it's got a couple drinks, and I finish it before I get out into the concourse, and I'm walking around looking for a recycle bin, right? Because in Oregon, those cans are worth 5 cents. You can take it to the store and get a nickel back. That's incredible. So I'm carrying it around with me, and I'm looking all over the place. And finally, I give up, right? Has anybody seen a recycle bin in the airport lately? There's one, okay. You looked a lot harder than I did, sir. But it was maybe a 10-minute, well, however far it took me to walk from Concourse D to Concourse B. And there was no recycle bins between those two. And so I was going to throw this away. I finally just resigned and said, I'm going to have to throw this thing away. And I usually don't have this problem because I'm on a cheaper airline like Southwest where they hand you the can, you take a drink, and you go to take a second drink, and the person in the window seat said, hey, pass that down here, right? Because you're supposed to just take one and pass it down. So I finally thought I was just going to throw this away, and I had to do one of like the little like behind my back kind of drops in the garbage can because all my friends from Portland were right there getting off the plane with me. I didn't want them to see I'm throwing a can away. So if you want to make somebody from Portland or Oregon mad, go to their house and throw a can in the garbage. Right? You will get some dirty looks, probably will never get invited back. So anyways, 100% recycled, 100% recyclable, because I'm a hippie from Oregon, and a lot of my target market really resonates with that. So yeah, it's ugly, it's not the 4-color, beautiful printed, incredibly immaculate, nice UV coating on there. It's cardboard box, soy-based ink, 100% recyclable. You open up this box, and right away you see the card. Okay, there's our Target, Liz. On the back of this card is all of the information you need to know about the brands that are in the box. What it is, how to use it, where to get more of it. Those are the 3 things we include on every card. And then you'll see a nice little tissue paper wrapper. We don't just throw these things in there. I mean, Gatorade's paying $25 million to Michael Jordan. They don't want their product just tossed in a box, right? We wrap it up with tissue paper. 2 reasons. Number 1, the anticipation factor. You open the box, you think you're going to see something there. You've got this next layer, right? The lonely runner that wants the present. They want to be surprised. Second reason is, our old joke was, whatever we do, the Postal Service is going to undo. No offense, Postal Service, right? We love you guys. But if we threw these things in a box, by the time it gets there, and I'll show you some pictures here in a second, it gets a little ridiculous. So we put it in there, tightly wrap it, seal it with a sticker, and now I can pick up this whole wrapping, and nothing except for that is going to fall out. Okay? So that keeps everything, labels facing up, because when you open it, I want you to see that PowerBar. I want you to see that Cliff Bar. I want you to see that Gatorade product. I want you to get excited about that, because then when you dig in, you're going to find those smaller brands that are now piggybacking on the big brands. So we're creating those relationships that lead to ongoing customers and ongoing brands that use us to promote their products. So some of our logistical choices that we make, we do all our fulfillment in-house. Nice little 2,500 square foot warehouse in Bend, Oregon. All of our fulfillment is done out of there because we have a little bit more control right now. We want to make sure that those brands are represented in a way so we can build those relationships. And I want to make sure that everything is exactly as we want it. Marketing for a reason. Nothing is a mistake with us. Everything is done on purpose. Our biggest choice lately has been the simplicity of use for like a third-party logistics company. When they come to us and say, hey, we want to handle your shipping, we want to handle this and that, I say, how hard is it for us to use? Again, bootstrap company. I don't have hundreds on my team. I've got a small team that each has individual jobs, and for every hour, 2 hours, they work modifying a list or on the phone to a freight company or trying to talk with somebody. Every 2 hours is 2 hours wasted from what they should be doing. So can they make it simple? If I'm going to put a label on that box, why are you going to put a label over that label? Why can't you give me that label so I can put one label on the box and it's ready to go all the way through? Second one is service. What happens if a box gets destroyed? How transparent is that tracking information? How am I supposed to provide customer service to my customers if I can't get answers from you quickly? Third one is speed. This used to be a really big consideration, but if you're looking at the fact that we ship once a month for 1 week of the month, and somebody that ordered 3 weeks ago is just now getting their box, speed is no longer a factor for us. We still shoot for that nice 3 to 5 day window, and I'll show you why in a second, but speed isn't really a factor for us. And you'll notice one thing up there, spending. I didn't put the money factor on there because it's become a non-factor. There's so many competing places out there that can do the same thing. When it really comes down for me is simplicity. That's the biggest one in our book. If I'm going to spend an extra 10 cents, make it simple. And if you make it simple, I will spend an extra 10 cents a box. The last one you see on there is delivery spike. And I was going to talk a little bit about how logistics affects how we grow Stridebox. And that delivery spike looks like this. Now, if you see across the bottom, 10, 11, 12, 13, this is December. I'll bet you can bet when most of our packages were delivered in December. Which day? December 13th. We had a 400% spike in our web traffic, and it's consistent month to month, 400%. That day leads to about 20 to 25% of our monthly sales. So we trust that that spike is going to happen sometime during the month. Now, what happened in February of this year, the day our boxes were scheduled to leave our warehouse, we had 2 feet of snow. So instantly, every freight carrier quit coming to Bend because we're up in the mountains and the hills and 2 feet of snow, and it's crazy. So for 5 days, those boxes sat on my warehouse floor. And every single day, I was on the phone to that delivery or that freight carrier saying, hey, when are you going to come get these boxes? Oh, we can't drive. We can't drive. We can't drive. Meanwhile, 2 of my employees are commuting 45 minutes to get there every day. So it shows you a little bit of dedication there. But this spike is in large part due to our customers, but helps us grow our business. If this doesn't happen, which it didn't in February, and it doesn't help if there's a small spike here and a small spike here and a small spike here, we don't get the same effect as we do if it happens all in one day. If you post something to a Facebook or Twitter, I know it's not a social media conference, I don't want to bore you with all that, but if you post something to Facebook and Twitter and you do it one time and one time and one time and one time and one time, you're not going to get as much results as if you post 10 times in one day. And that's what happens here. So what happens when it doesn't work? These are a couple pictures that get shared on social media, and this is not a way we like to represent our brands. It's not great when a brand you're working with looks on social media and sees stuff like this. The guy on the left, Lee Seacrest, he's in Indiana. His delivery carrier decided not to put the box in the mailbox, which is its size to fit in any mailbox. Not to put the box in the mailbox, instead put it on his back porch, where the squirrels dragged it off his back porch behind his back shed and proceeded to enjoy the contents. So if any of you are from Indiana and you see a bunch of cracked out squirrels running around with caffeine in their system, go tell Lee you found them. All right, we sent him a new box and everything, but still, when he posts this on social media, it doesn't make us look good. And when Gatorade or PowerBar sees that something like this is happening to our boxes, it is not a good situation for us. Not really a fault of logistically, but it's made to fit in a mailbox. Just put it in the mailbox. Second one, Brad over here. Brad lives in Saipan. Saipan's an interesting place. Their delivery is not the quickest. And as you can see from the picture, probably not the most gentle on boxes. This box is wet at one point and has been smashed. Again, we sent Brad a new box, but when this is posted to Brad's 1,050 followers on Twitter, it doesn't help us. It doesn't look good for the brands. The main way we grow very organically through social media. The biggest thing is when it does work, this is what it looks like. You see upper left there's a nice box in the mailbox. That's how I know it fits, because people take pictures of a box in their mailbox. When was the last time they took a shipment from you guys and took a picture of it in their mailbox? It's that anticipation. Here's somebody on a run eating their honey stinger bar. Here's a picture saying the Gatorade chews are my guilty pleasure, right? Gatorade loves hearing that stuff, especially on social media at the grassroots level. Here's a small company called Lenny and Larry's, two super crazy guys with that crazy hair that created like protein bars, and they created a fit bar. Here's somebody that says they just had their first Lenny and Larry's protein brownie. Hello, love, no weird protein aftertaste. That's the kind of marketing they're looking for when they come to work with us. I got an email from Larry, his actual name is Barry, after that saying, hey, we'll do whatever you want. Whenever you need something from us, let us know, because of this kind of feedback. And that wasn't the only one. Up here you see shaking up a little Gatorade endurance formula in one of our Stridebox water bottles. And that's a nice little representation of Gatorade, showing that somebody's using it, promoting it. And then here's a email from a marketing manager at Noon, which is another little fizzy, kind of an Alka-Seltzer tab that's a drink mix, saying, I have to say the buzz that Stridebox created was definitely the strongest, so thanks for that. They tried out a bunch of different of these box companies, and they found that we were exceptionally great at what we do. So, I know I talked to a bunch of non-runners about running stuff. Again, Lazy Crate, we're considering it seriously. But thank you, and I guess if there's any questions, Krista, you can run around with the microphone. I got free stuff for questions. I'll trade.
I know some of you want some free stuff. Come on.
Gatorade Endurance, marathon runners.
Just say your name and company you're with.
Hi, my question is pretty straightforward. I'm Jatin from FedEx. Is this USPS is the only one that you ship with, or depending upon the different type of situation?
I've refrained from mentioning a couple of carriers for different reasons. USPS does our final delivery in most cases, just because that's what a lot of people do their final delivery with. So they're the main ones I mentioned, just because we haven't figured out a great way to get around their system yet.
Good morning, Jeff Abeson with the MXD Group. How do you create a sustainable customer, one that continues to come back after they have? Because the way I understand it is, it's a sampling of products that they get on a monthly basis. Once they've made a decision about what works for them, et cetera, how do you keep them engaged?
The big one is a surprise factor. Okay. There's always a larger product. Like in this case, I've got a training log. It's just like our own branded product that we've put out. I've got a lock laces product. What's going to be in the next box? You'd be amazed at how many emails I get from people that are like, well, I was going to cancel, but I'll wait to see what's in the next box. It's that anticipation factor. It's not necessarily that they're waiting to see what PowerBar is introducing next, but they're waiting to see what's in the box. And they know that when their friend gets it and shares it, that they're going to be jealous. And once we ship our boxes for the month, our April box just went out last week. We should be seeing that spike anytime this week. Our April box went out last week. We don't have any more April boxes. So you can't call me up this week and say, hey, James, I want an April box. I'm sorry. We're out. I've got a few saved for returns and anything that we get back in the mail. So it's just the anticipation factor. It's an auto charge system, so, but we're month to month, so it's our job to continually impress them.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, Elliot Crane with the Home Depot. I just had a question about what does your growth curve look like? I mean, I guess probably you see spikes when
Like
they
this?
do ship, and people probably see other people getting it, and you kind of get some organic growth there. But is it fairly predictable, or what does
Our
it look
biggest
like?
predictable piece of our growth is that spike I showed you. I know that sometime, since we shipped on Thursday and Friday of last week, our whole shipment, I know that sometime this week we're going to see that spike. And it may happen over a day or 2 days, depending on the delivery. But as far as month-to-month growth, we're winging it right now. I mean, we didn't expect, and I know Dollar Shave Club is going to talk later about quick growth, and we went from 0 to thousands quickly. And we left all our competitors in the dust, and it's organic. It's all organic growth. So do we love social media? Yes. Can we control it, and can we anticipate what's going to happen on it? No. Best answer I can give.
Good morning, Jessica Barouche from My French Connection. You said that you started really small. How brands were attracted to your box and your concept? How they follow you at the beginning?
A lot of hustle. When you have no product that you shipped out, when you haven't done this, that was my biggest concern starting up, is how do we get brands to buy into this before it starts happening? And it was a lot of calls. And the good thing is, when you're small, our first box shipped to 73 people. When you're small, it's easy for a brand to say, hey, here's 73 of whatever product. So they've got kind of a budget for that. Now we're asking them for 5,000, 10,000 products. And they're like, well, and I'll be like, well, look at what kind of buzz we can create for your product, how we can introduce it to this target market. So when we started, it was just pick up the phone, call, and see who's gonna do it. And we hit up those big brands first, because we knew that our brand would be built by working with bigger brands.
Thank you.
Hi, Alessandra Zucker from OnTrack. With your, let's say, April box, do you have the same product in every single April box? Or if I get an April box and my friend gets one, can we compare products and it'll make me want what she has, or how does that work?
If you're a subscriber, you get the same box as every other subscriber. If you're a gift recipient, you may get a best of box, which is kind of more of the bigger name brands, because our job, if you get a gift subscription, is to turn you into a subscriber. Basically, our customers are doing marketing for us. If they send it to their brother or something, we want to make sure he has the best experience so he can become a subscriber as well. Did that answer your question? Okay.
If I may also ask a question, I'll come over to you, just kind of piggybacking on that question. Do you have intentions to segment your boxes moving forward as you gather more data and kind of customizing the boxes?
I will tell you, our box is pretty segmented now. When I pointed at Liz as our target market, we target Liz, but that is only about 70% of our market. We have a lot of males in our market. When we started, it was the female runner, and if guys want to buy it, who am I to stop them? Right? So there is a little segment there. I think we're segmented well, but there are other markets we're considering. The bodybuilding market would be one. The CrossFit market is huge and growing. A couple of those different types of segments, but I would say we're about as segmented as we're going to get that way.
Morning, James. George Swartz with Sedlak Management Consultants. Curious, I have a niece that's a Stridebox subscriber. My wife and daughter are addicted to Birchbox. When do we reach saturation on the delivery end? You guys have an amazing growth curve. Birchbox is growing. The whole box phenomena is catching on. Is the post office starting to push back at all?
The post office in their current situation doesn't turn down my checks. Let's just say it that way. They don't mind when I walk in there with a large check. The Bend post office that I've done some of my sorted delivery through is not set up in any way to handle more than probably about 500 boxes. And in April, we ran about 5,500 through them. They didn't push back necessarily, but there was a learning curve there that had to be taught all around. So, until people stop taking my checks, that's when we'll hit saturation, and that usually never happens.
Hi, I'm Erin with Georgia Crafted, a local subscription box company here in Georgia. How long have you guys been in business, and what would you say is one of your biggest challenges?
We've been in business since, funny story, it was January of 2013. My wife rolled over on New Year's Eve and said, guess what we could do? And I was like, oh, could be good. And she said, let's start a subscription box company for runners. And I said, oh, that's it? But anyways, February of 2013 was our first box. And the growth has been incredible since then. Like I said, I can't really predict it. What's been our biggest challenge? I would say managing the growth. Customer service at the beginning was not anticipated how much confusion there was about our product. A lot of people that subscribe to a subscription box have never done a subscription box before. So you have that learning curve with them, and you got to tell them that, okay, you're going to get charged today. We only ship on these dates, and just kind of getting them used to your model. But the growth has been probably the biggest challenge. Working with a few brands, some of the incoming freight. As an entrepreneur, it's just another day at the job.
Cool. I think we have time for just one last question, if we have it.
So,
Who asked questions? I got free stuff.
this is Deepthi from FedEx. Curious about why just once a month, and then you can probably spread it across, higher frequency in case you wanted to manage the peak properly.
We definitely could. Our thought process has been, we love that the type of momentum we can build on a once-a-month shipment on the social media, as the buzz, on Facebook, on Twitter. Spreading it out, to me, spreads out our costs. There's less of an efficiency there. If I take all the orders and process all those orders on one day, and then pack all those boxes in 1 week, there's an efficiency there for me that if I were to, say, have somebody in to fulfill 100 orders one day and 100 orders the next day and 100 orders the next day, it's better for me to just do 10,000 one day, or 5,000 one day, 5,000 the next day, and on. So it's just an efficiency thing. We've considered doing 2 different boxes, maybe one at the start and one in the middle. And we're probably, if we were to do that, we're probably pretty close to our tipping point as far as splitting the shipment. So it's been considered, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much, James. Very interesting.